Buttersilk Concealer. Oh my gosh, there it is, right on cue. Garbage truck right on cue. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be testing out and reviewing the newest launch from One Size by Starrr. This is the Turn Up the Base Buttersilk Concealer. Now it retails for $25 US and you can find it in 24 different shades, which is quite the shade range for a pretty new brand, right? Like One Size hasn't been around for that long. Anyway, I grabbed the shade Medium Neutral to test out today. Now this is supposed to be a medium to full coverage formula with a matte finish. It's also going to be long lasting, waterproof. It's not supposed to crease. It's not supposed to look cakey. It's supposed to glide on like butter on toast. It's how they put it. Now the highlighted ingredients are caffeine, which is going to visibly depuff and smooth out the skin, avocado and mango butters, which are supposed to hydrate and nourish to smooth texture, and an exclusive peptide blend, which is going to support natural collagen to help improve texture. It is also vegan and cruelty-free. So let's get right into it. Per usual, I'm going to be testing this out with and without a color corrector underneath to see just how full coverage this can get on its own, or if you can only get that full coverage on dark circles with a color corrector underneath it. Now, as far as how to use this is pretty straightforward. You're supposed to just apply the concealer underneath the eyes. You can blend it out with a brush, a sponge, or your fingers. It doesn't say anything about setting it or needing to set it. I'm assuming because it is supposed to have a matte finish. So we're just gonna like play it by ear when it comes to that. Some concealers, they say that they're matte, but they will settle into fine lines and they will need to be set even though they're matte. Other concealers are really truly matte and they won't settle, they won't move around. So I'm gonna see what it looks like once I apply it. If I feel like it needs to be set, I will do so very lightly. If I don't, then I will let you guys know that I'm not going to set it. So the corrector that I'm using for today is my current go-to, the NARS Radiant Creamy Corrector in the shade Medium. Now this is what the shade looks like here, the Medium Neutral from Starrr. I decided to apply a couple of different concealers next to it just to give you guys a better idea of what this kind of looks like. This one here in the middle is NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Ginger, which I feel is very similar to the One Size. And this one over here is from Ulta Beauty. It is their Medium Neutral shade, which I think is a little bit more warm. It's supposed to be more neutral, but this looks a little bit warmer to me. These two though, they seem pretty identical, right? Those are the only two concealers that were similar to this shade, so I thought I'd put that in there just in case you're not sure what shade to go with. So let's get started with a little bit of correcting over here and see how much coverage we can get with this concealer. All right, let me put some foundation on this face and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's get into this concealer. So I'm gonna start off light and then build it up if I need to. So I'm just gonna start off with a couple of dots, and I'm gonna be blending it out with this Deluxe Crease Brush from Real Techniques. This looks really light, but it looks like ginger, which I wear. So let's see what this looks like underneath the eyes. It might look a little gray on the left side since I don't have the color corrector to help neutralize the darkness. And this is a teeny bit light. It might look a little gray, but we're gonna go with it. All right, so there's one layer. I think I am gonna add just a tiny bit more right here to help conceal just a little bit more. So when you take the applicator out of the tube, it grabs a ton of product. I'm just gonna scrape a little bit of that off. And that way I can place just a small amount right there. All right, so one side done. It blends out really easily, very nicely with the brush. Now let's move on to this side. I think it's gonna look gray. So brace yourselves for a gray under eye area. All right, so there's the one layer. I would definitely say this is like high medium. High medium coverage by itself. You get better coverage with a corrector, obviously. And this shade might be a little tiny bit too light, but with a corrector to neutralize the under eye area, it's it's not bad. The shade, that is, it's not too light. Let's go ahead and place a little bit more here, and actually a little bit more over here as well. All right, so there it is. Definitely you can see it's a matte formula for sure. It's not moving around. It's not looking too like dewy underneath the eyes, like the light's not bouncing off of the under eye area. I think I am gonna set this very lightly though, very, very lightly. And I'm gonna do it with my trusty Pat McGrath blurring under eye powder. I almost forgot the name. So this is in the shade medium. That's what I have been using underneath the eyes, like, I don't know, 90% of the time lately within the last month. This has been my go-to under eye powder, just because I know that it works with pretty much every single concealer that I've used this with. And whenever I am doing reviews, I like to stick with what I know works. That way I can single out what didn't. So grabbing that with my Soft Blend number 40 brush from Sigma Beauty and setting this in place. All right, now that that is set and ready to go, let me zoom you guys in. All right, so this is the under eye area up close and personal. This is the side that we corrected, which is getting better coverage, very obviously, right? I can still see a little bit of darkness peeking through, but I didn't apply too much product, so there's that. Over here, definitely seeing the darkness a little bit more. Overall, I'd say yes, medium buildable coverage. It holds true. All right, now that that's out of the way, let me finish the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. All right, I am back, ready to continue on with my day. What time is it? It is currently 11:16 in the morning. Of course, you guys know the drill. I do plan on wearing this all day long, and I'm gonna be coming back halfway through the day to show you some close-ups, see what the concealer is doing. So far, we are starting off really solid, even though it's not like crazy full coverage, it's still really high coverage, even without a corrector underneath. Although I do feel like this is slightly more concealed, right? It looks great up close. It does not look heavy. It doesn't look excessively dry, even though it is a matte formula and I did set it with a powder. It doesn't look excessively dry to me. Looks really good. We'll see how it wears. I'll be back in about 4 hours from my midday check-in. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I am back for my quick midday check-in. We are in natural lighting and it is a 4:48. So I've been wearing this for a little over 5 hours, I believe. Now this is the situation underneath the eyes. So this is the side that we color corrected. This is the side that we didn't. I feel like I lost perhaps just a little bit of coverage, right? It does look a tad bit dry to me, a little bit more over here than it does over here, but not excessively dry. For it being a matte formula, it's not excessively dry, or it doesn't look that way, at least not to me. And yeah, coverage, although very similar, I think I'm getting a little bit more over here. So far so good. Nothing's broken up, nothing's settled, nothing's moved around. Like I said, I think maybe I lost a little bit of coverage, but that's about it. I will continue to wear this for another like 3 hours or so to give it a full day. And yeah, then call it done at that point. We'll see where we're at by the end of the night. So I will be back here in a few more hours for my final check-in. All right, so I am finally back. It is the end of the day. I'm ready to wash this off. It is currently 7:45, so I've had this concealer on all day long, a solid 8 hours. Now, before I get into what I think, I am going to zoom you guys in one last time so that you can get a closer look at the under eye area after wearing this all day long. All right, so here it is, up close and personal. As you can see, we did lose coverage, just a little bit, but we did lose coverage. Now that we are finishing the day, I do feel like this concealer definitely wore better with a corrector underneath it. I can see a lot of darkness over here. I can still see darkness over here, but just not as much. And also, I feel like the left side looks just a tad bit more dry to me than the right side. What do you guys think? So there it is. Not a bad concealer, but it's not making, like, it's definitely not one that's going to make like my top 5 list, my top 3 list. No, unfortunately not. This is definitely medium to like high medium coverage on its own. You will need to pair it with a corrector if you're trying to conceal dark circles, like dark circles, you know, not just a little bit of darkness, but if you're trying to conceal dark circles, you're going to need a corrector in order to get the most out of this concealer. I appreciate that it's vegan and that it's cruelty free and that it has like nice ingredients like the caffeine to depuff, and it also has those butters like mango butter, and I think it was mango and avocado, maybe something like that. But anyway, I appreciate the ingredients that were infused into this formula, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to keep it from looking too dry, and it did wear off a little bit. Even though we said it at the beginning of the day, it did wear off a tiny little bit underneath both eye areas. Worn by itself, I probably won't do again, not just because of the lack of coverage, but also because I feel like it looks a little bit more dry on its own for obvious reasons, right? It's a matte concealer, so it looks a little bit more dry on its own. Next time that I grab this, I will be pairing it with my Beauty Pie corrector, since I feel like that would help the situation underneath the eyes from looking so dry. So that's what I'll do going forward. If you are looking at this one or you're considering purchasing this one, I would just make sure that you take into consideration the fact that it is matte and it is not, at least not in my opinion, even with the 2 layers, it's not full coverage on its own. So if you're trying to conceal dark circles, you're gonna need a corrector, and you're gonna need a hydrating corrector because yeah, this is pretty matte. So that completes today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's video review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. And also don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you guys. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah. Bye.